In this presentation, I'll be providing some tips on how to break down a piece of literature in order to generate meaning. By the end of the presentation, we will have the beginnings of a body paragraph. Although there are many steps in analyzing literature and creating a strong body paragraph, they can be grouped into the following categories. First, work on understanding the text. Basic comprehension is the foundation of the interpretation that will be generated later. Most students struggle with this step. Stopping here only produces surface-level meaning, resulting in a paragraph that merely summarizes the text. Second, focus on a small yet significant detail in the text. Select a section, image, or symbol that appears to be important. Writers will draw regular attention to details that are important to the text's themes, and it's those details that we should also focus on. Third, apply any meaning generated to the whole text. It's in this step that the paragraph will begin to take shape. When analyzing older texts, it helps to understand the historical and literary context in which they were produced. Reading assigned introductory essays and/or taking notes during a professor's introductory lecture on the subject can help prepare you for analyzing the assigned text. To help you follow along as I analyze Shakespeare's Sonnet 130, I will provide some context. First, sonnets had been trendy in the decades preceding Shakespeare's publication of his own sonnet sequence in 1609. Any man who had a formal education and could read and write probably wrote a sonnet. Conversely, since sonnets were supposed to focus on the speaker and his beloved, any woman of marrying age who could read and write probably received a sonnet from a suitor. Additionally, many of those sonnets attempted to praise the woman by comparing her to nature. For example, "Your eyes shine as bright as the sun," or "Your skin is as pure as fresh snow." Ever the observer and critic of his own culture, Shakespeare turns these poetic tropes on their head in Sonnet 130. And so now, here's my reading of Shakespeare's Sonnet 130. My mistress's eyes are nothing like the sun. Coral is far more red than her lips red. If snow be white, why then her breasts are dun. If hairs be wires, black wires grow on her head. I have seen roses damasked, red and white, but no such roses see I in her cheeks. And in some perfumes is there more delight than in the breath that from my mistress reeks. I love to hear her speak, yet well I know that music hath a far more pleasing sound. I grant I never saw a goddess go. My mistress, when she walks, treads on the ground. And yet, by heaven, I think my love as rare as any she belied with false compare. Before the analysis starts, you should understand the text, and so let's start at the beginning. When the writer composes complete sentences, as Shakespeare does in this sonnet, we need to look for those complete sentences. The first complete sentence, or independent clause, appears in the first line. The line has a subject, my mistress's eyes, a verb, are, and the verb's predicate, nothing like the sun. Periods, semicolons, and colons are good indicators that an independent clause has finished. Now, as far as what happens in the clause itself, the speaker is offering up a comparison. And in similes, writers will attempt to define something that is unknown by comparing it to something that is known. We don't know what the speaker's mistress's eyes are like, and so the speaker attempts to help us by comparing the unknown image of her eyes to something that we are familiar with, the sun. However, the speaker says that her eyes are not like the sun, and so we are left with an unclear picture, hence the negative comparison. The lines that follow the first present what seems to be an unflattering picture of the speaker's mistress. Her lips are not red. Her skin is not white. In fact, it's brown. Her hair is black wires. There are no roses in her cheeks, and her breath is not as delightful as some perfumes. Although most readers first think that the mistress is ugly, that is not what the speaker is saying. He's only saying that if he were honest, he would not be able to compare her to objects that other sonnet writers use to describe their beloved. In other words, the speaker's mistress is too unique and too smart to fall for the traditional kinds of comparisons. Even in what seems to be the most damning line that states her breath is not as sweet as perfume, we must remember that a person's breath is not always sweet smelling. No matter how much we try, our breaths will not be as sweet as some perfumes. Likewise, how many people do you know that speak with a musical voice? And yet, the speaker declares that he loves to hear her speak. In other words, he cherishes what she has to say. He loves to hear the way her mind works. Many other sonneteers compare their beloved to goddesses walking the earth. Shakespeare's speaker, however, admits that he has never seen a goddess walk the earth. His mistress walks on the earth like a living, breathing human being. In most sonnets, the final couplet provides a kind of answer to the sonnet's general idea. For this sonnet, the speaker ends with another comparison. His love is as rare as all the women slandered with false comparisons. Since there are many, many women who have been falsely compared to nature, his love is not rare. Then again, is love really that rare, since so many people experience it at some point in their lives? Again, the speaker is being honest with his mistress. Like her, he is keeping his sonnet closer to reality. In a way, the speaker's sonnet is more unique than what other sonneteers have written, just like his mistress is more unique. She doesn't deserve false comparisons, and she would see through them anyway. While the speaker's love is not rare, his sonnet is, and so is she. Once an understanding of the text is achieved, we can move on to generating an interpretation. To start this process, it helps to start with focusing our attention on a specific moment in the text. For this presentation, I have chosen to focus on the lines, "I grant I never saw a goddess go, my mistress when she walks treads on the ground." As I noted before, these lines appear to compare the goddesses of other sonneteers and the speaker's more earthly beloved. Next, I ask myself why. Why would the speaker feel the need to do this? He's departing from what most sonnets do when describing their beloved. He could be doing this so that his mistress is not placed upon a pedestal, not transformed into an unrealistic woman. Doing this reveals that the speaker loves the woman's imperfect humanity. She is more real to him and thus more worthy of his love. And finally, I broaden out to what Shakespeare might be attempting to accomplish in his sonnet sequence. Shakespeare's speaker appears to be criticizing other sonneteers for lying to their beloved through false comparisons. In other words, their love is fake, unrealistic. The way we typically generate these ideas tends to move from the specific to the general. First drafts of body paragraphs and essays tend not to start with a clear idea of where they are going. In the writing, however, the idea starts to emerge. Pay close attention to this process when writing the first draft. The paragraph's main idea or a potential topic sentence will usually appear late in the paragraph. Now, some students start with the general idea and forget about the specifics. Remember, however you write your paragraphs, both the larger idea and the specific details are necessary to create a strong paragraph and essay. Once the main idea of the paragraph has been found, move it to the topic sentence position. Doing so will create a stronger, more organized body paragraph. The topic sentence should express the paragraph's main idea. It should then be followed by the first piece of evidence. After the evidence, the paragraph needs to explain how the evidence supports the topic sentence's claim. The paragraph on this slide will need more development, but it's a start. Thank you for watching, and please let me know if you have any questions.